Hello children, welcome to my online class, and today we'll be doing the second part of chapter number 3, two stories about flying, and that is Black Aeroplane, written by Frederick Fawcett. My dear children, in this story, the author, he himself is the storyteller, and he was flying his plane and he was on his way to England to spend some quality time with his family. While he was flying, due to a wrong decision, he got stuck in stormy clouds. And there comes the twist in this chapter. What happens next and how the author rescued himself is something we will get it when we'll explore this beautiful chapter. So let's move on to the line by line explanation of this chapter.
So children, let's start the second part of chapter number 3, that is Black Aeroplane, written by Frederick Fawcett. But before that, let's discuss about the author. Frederick Fawcett was born on August 25, 1938, is a British author. He is best known for thrillers such as The Fist of God. Fawcett was educated at Tunbridge School. He later attended Granada University in Spain. At the age of 19, he became one of the youngest pilots ever in the Royal Air Force, where he served until 1958. So, Frederick Fawcett, born on 25 August 1938, is a British author, and he is best known for his suspense novel, and the name of that novel is The Fist of God. And this novel was published in the year 1994. And this novel is about the Iraqi project Babylon and the resulting supergun. It is all about the Allied forces who were trying to find out the suspected Iraqi nuclear weapon. So that was actually the story of this thriller, The Fist of God. And he was educated at Tunbridge School, and only at the age of 19 he became one of the youngest pilots ever in the Royal Air Force, and where he served until 1958. Now let's discuss the chapter in detail. The moon was coming up in the east behind me, and stars were shining in the clear sky above me. There was not a cloud in the sky. I was happy to be alone, high up above the sleeping countryside. I was flying my old Dakota airplane over France back to England. I was dreaming of my holiday and looking forward to being with my family. I looked at my watch, 1:30 in the morning. So, as this story begins, we see that the author, the writer, Frederick Fawcett, who is actually a pilot also, so he was actually flying his old Dakota airplane. Dakota is a kind of airplane where a single engine is installed, and this airplane has low mounted wings. You can see in the picture also, this is the actual picture of a Dakota airplane. So he was flying his airplane, the weather was very fine, and it was actually night time, and he was going to England, and he was flying over France, and he was going to England to spend his holiday with his family. And he was very happy that he was going back to England to spend some quality time with his family members. And at that time, the watch was showing 1:30 in the morning. You can call it midnight time also. I should call Paris control soon, I thought, as I looked down past the nose of the aeroplane. I saw the lights of a big city in front of me. I switched on the radio and said, Paris control, Dakota DS 088 here. Can you hear me? I am on my way to England. Over. So the narrator, he was flying over France and he was going to England. The weather was very fine, and it was, we all know that Paris is a big city, so he was flying over Paris, and it is a big city with lights all around. So he decided that he should contact the air control room so that he may get a clear idea of the route, the direction. So he immediately called the Paris control room and he requested them, okay, I'm Dakota DS 088, can you hear me? I'm on my way to England. The voice from the radio answered me immediately. DS 088, I can hear you. You ought to turn 12 degrees west now. DS 088, over. I checked the map and the compass, switched over to my second and last fuel tank, and turned the Dakota 12 degrees west towards England. I will be in time for breakfast, I thought. A good big English breakfast. Everything was going well. It was an easy flight. So he contacted the Paris control room. He asked them about the direction, and he was directed, and he was told that he had to turn 12 degrees towards west to go to England. And then the narrator, he checked his map, his compass, and he switched over to his second and last fuel tank. See, normally all the planes, they have two fuel tanks. If one gets empty, then they use the another fuel tank. So here also what happened, maybe the first fuel tank got empty, so he turned to the second fuel tank, and that was the last fuel tank, and he was literally thinking of that I would be there with my family members for breakfast, and it was going very well because it was an easy flight. Paris was about 150 kilometers behind me when I saw the clouds. Storm clouds. They were huge. Now what happened? After being directed by the Paris control room, the narrator kept on flying, and he covered near about 150 kilometers. Means he crossed Paris and he was away of 150 kilometers, Meanwhile, he saw clouds. As you can see in the picture, storm clouds, very black and very huge clouds. They looked like black mountains standing in front of me across the sky. And these black clouds, stormy clouds, were looking like black mountains. I knew I could not fly up and over them. I did not have enough fuel to fly around them to the north or south. Now what happened? He understood one thing, that it is not possible to fly over these black clouds and get over these black clouds. And at the same time, he was not having sufficient fuel so that he may change his direction or his route. Then another thought came in his mind. What was that? I ought to go back to Paris. I thought, but I wanted to get home. Now what happened? Another thought came in his mind. And what was that? That I should go back to Paris. But then again, something struck. What was that? I wanted to get home. I wanted that breakfast. I will take the risk, I thought, and flew that old Dakota straight into the storm. So finally what happened? The narrator, when he saw these huge black stormy clouds, जब उन्होंने एक काले बादल उन्होंने देखे जो कि एक काले पहाड़ की तरह थे, तो वो समझ गए कि इसको पार कर कर जाना मेरे लिए बहुत कठिन है और मैं कोई दूसरे रास्ते से जा भी नहीं सकता, क्योंकि मेरे पास फ्यूल, जिसे आप कहेंगे पेट्रोल, प्लेन में जो एरोप्लेन में जो पेट्रोल पड़ता है वो भी नहीं है मेरे पास. तो मैं क्या करूं? एक और आइडिया इनके दिमाग में आया कि वापस पेरिस चला जाऊं और बाद में जब मौसम सही हो जाए तब वापस इंग्लैंड के लिए निकलूं. बट उनके दिमाग में था नहीं, मुझे घर जाना ही जाना है, मुझे आज घर का ब्रेकफास्ट करना ही करना है, मैं ये रिस्क लूँगा. आई विल टेक दिस रिस्क, चाहे कुछ भी हो जाए, मैं इस भयंकर काले बादलों के बीच में से ही गुजरूंगा. तो दैट वाज व्हाट ही फाइनली डिसाइडेड. Inside the clouds, everything was suddenly black. Finally, he entered those clouds and everything was totally black. It was impossible to see anything outside the aeroplane, and the clouds were so huge and they were so black that it was very impossible to see anything outside the aeroplane. The old aeroplane jumped and twisted in the air. Now, due to these stormy clouds, what happened? The plane got affected and the plane started behaving in an unusual manner. प्लेन भी जो है हिचकोले खाने लगा, हवा में ही ट्विस्ट होने लगा, घूमने लगा इधर उधर, कंट्रोल में नहीं कर पा रहे थे नरेटर इस प्लेन को. I looked at the compass. I couldn't believe my eyes. The compass was turning round and round and round. It was dead. It would not work. The other instruments were suddenly dead too. I tried the radio, Paris control, can you hear me? Then what happened? He looked at the compass, and for his utter astonishment, the compass was not working. Even the other instruments that were installed in the plane, they were also dead. जो भी इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स यंत्र हैं उस प्लेन के अंदर, वो सब भी काम करना बंद कर दिए थे. Again he tried to contact the Paris control. There was no answer. The radio was dead too. Finally the radio was also, not working. I had no radio, no compass, and I could not see where I was. I was lost in the storm. Now, the narrator was lost in the storm. Then, in the black clouds quite near me, I saw another aeroplane, as you can see in the picture. Meanwhile, what happened? The narrator, he saw another aeroplane in that black cloud. It had no lights on its wings, but I could see it flying next to me through the storm. And there was no lights on the wings of that plane, but it was flying next to him. I could see the pilot's face turned towards me. I was very glad to see another person. He lifted one hand and waved. "Follow me," he was saying. "Follow me. He knows that I am lost." I thought, he's trying to help me. Now what happened? The narrator, the pilot, he was lost in the storm. Meanwhile, he saw another aeroplane and he saw the pilot's face also. And he was very happy to see another man in that terrible storm. And that man lifted his one hand and waved at him and said, "Come on, follow me. I'll show you the way." And the narrator thought that he must be helping me. He turned his aeroplane slowly to the north in front of my Dakota so that it would be easier for me to follow him. I was very happy to go behind this strange aeroplane like an obedient child. Now finally what happened? That aeroplane, he slowly turned towards the north and it was flying in front of Dakota, and the pilot, the narrator, he was following that plane like an obedient child. After half an hour, the strange black aeroplane was still there in front of me in the clouds. And for half an hour, the narrator was following that strange black aeroplane. Now there was only enough fuel in the old Dakota's last tank to fly for 5 or 10 minutes more. अब नरेटर की प्लेन में, डकोटा में फ्यूल सिर्फ 5 और 10 मिनट और उड़ान भरने की थी. पेट्रोल भी खत्म हो रहा था. I was starting to feel frightened again. I was again afraid, frightened. But then he started to go down and I followed through the storm. Unfortunately, what happened? That strange black aeroplane started going down and the narrator also started following him. Suddenly, I came out of the clouds and saw 2 long straight lines of light in front of me. It was a runway, an airport. I was safe. So finally what happens? जैसे ही उन बादलों से बाहर निकले नरेटर, तो उन्होंने देखा कि सामने तो एयरपोर्ट है, रनवे दिख रहा है. अब कोई डरने की बात नहीं है क्योंकि अब वो रनवे पर उतर रहे थे. I turned to look for my friend in the black airplane, but the sky was empty. Then he started looking here and there to find out his friend of that strange black aeroplane who helped me come out of this stormy clouds, but the sky was empty. अब वो इधर उधर देखने लगे कि वो कहाँ है शख्स जिन्होंने मुझे इस क्लाउड से बाहर निकाला, जिन्होंने मेरी मदद की, लेकिन आसमान में तो कोई नहीं दिख रहा. The black aeroplane was gone. I could not see it anywhere. I landed and was not sorry to walk away from the old Dakota near the control tower. I went and asked a woman in the control center where I was and who the other pilot was. Then the pilot, the narrator, he thought that he should go to the control tower. He went there, he saw a woman. He asked her, "Where am I? Which place is this? And who is that pilot who helped me?" I wanted to say thank you. She looked at me very strangely and then laughed. "Another aeroplane? Up there in this storm? No other aeroplanes were flying tonight. Yours was the only one I could see on the radar. अब देखिए कितना हैरत अंगेज जवाब मिल रहा है पायलट को. पायलट ने जब कहा कि कहाँ है वो दूसरा पायलट जिसने मेरी मदद की है, मैं उनको थैंक यू बोलना चाहता हूँ, तो उस जो कंट्रोल टावर पर जो वुमेन बैठी थी उन्होंने कहा, दूसरा पायलट? अरे आज तो आपके अलावा किसी और ने उड़ान नहीं भरी, कोई और प्लेन आज आसमान में उड़ा ही नहीं आपके अलावा, तो कहाँ से दूसरा पायलट आएगा? So who helped me to arrive there safely without a compass or a radio and without any more fuel in my tanks? Who was the pilot on this strange black aeroplane flying in the storm without lights? Now a big question mark, a big question to all of us, to all the readers. If there was no aeroplane that night, if there was no pilot flying any sort of aeroplane that night, then who actually helped this narrator? Who actually helped him come out of this stormy cloud? My dear children, according to you, what do you think about? Who is that pilot? What do you think about that mysterious black aeroplane? I personally feel that maybe the messenger of God, maybe God sent his messenger or his angels to help him out. This is what my view, my opinion about this conclusion. So that was all from this explanation part. My dear children, I found an animated video regarding this chapter, and I think that will help you a lot in understanding this chapter in a better way. So please watch that video and enjoy this beautiful chapter. Thank you and take care.
The moon was coming up in the east behind me, and the stars were shining in the clear sky above me. There wasn't a cloud in the sky. I was happy to be alone high up above the sleeping countryside. I was flying my old Dakota aeroplane over France back to England. I was dreaming of my holiday and looking forward to being with my family. I looked at my watch, 1:30 in the morning. I should call Paris Control soon, I thought. As I looked down past the nose of the aeroplane, I saw the lights of a big city in front of me. I switched on the radio and said, Paris Control, Dakota DS-088 here. Can you hear me? I'm on my way to England. Over. The voice from the radio answered me immediately.
DS-088, I can hear you. We are to turn 12 degrees west now. DS-088, over.
I checked the map and the compass, switched over to my second and last fuel tank, and turned the Dakota 12 degrees west towards England. I'll be in time for breakfast, I thought. A good big English breakfast. Everything was going well. It was an easy flight. Paris was about 150 kilometers behind me when I saw the clouds. Storm clouds. They were huge. They looked like black mountains standing in front of me across the sky. I knew I could not fly up and over them, and I did not have enough fuel to fly around them to the north or south. I ought to go back to Paris, I thought, but I wanted to get home. I wanted that breakfast. I'll take the risk, I thought, and flew that old Dakota straight into the storm. Inside the clouds, everything was suddenly black. It was impossible to see anything outside the aeroplane. The old aeroplane jumped and twisted in the air. I looked at the compass. I couldn't believe my eyes. The compass was turning round and round and round. It was dead. It would not work. The other instruments were suddenly dead too. I tried the radio. Paris Control, can you hear me? There was no answer. The radio was dead too. I had no radio, no compass, and I could not see where I was. I was lost in the storm. Then, in the black clouds quite near me, I saw another aeroplane. It had no lights on its wings, but I could see it flying next to me through the storm. I could see the pilot's face turned towards me. I was very glad to see another person. He lifted one hand and waved. "Follow me," he was saying. "Follow me." He knows that I am lost, I thought. He's trying to help me. He turned his aeroplane slowly to the north in front of my Dakota so that it would be easier for me to follow him. I was very happy to go behind the strange aeroplane like an obedient child. After half an hour, the strange black aeroplane was still there in front of me in the clouds. Now there was only enough fuel in the old Dakota's last tank to fly for 5 or 10 minutes more. I was starting to feel frightened again. But then he started to go down, and I followed through the storm. Suddenly, I came out of the clouds and saw 2 long, straight lines of light in front of me. It was a runway, an airport. I was safe. I turned to look for my friend in the black aeroplane, but the sky was empty. There was nothing there. The black aeroplane was gone. I could not see it anywhere. I landed and was not sorry to walk away from the old Dakota near the control tower. I went and asked a woman in the control center where I was and who the other pilot was. I wanted to say thank you. She looked at me very strangely and then laughed.
Another aeroplane? Up there in this storm? No other aeroplanes were flying tonight. Yours was the only one I could see on the radar.
So, who helped me to arrive there safely without a compass or a radio and without any more fuel in my tanks? Who was the pilot on the strange black aeroplane flying in the storm without lights?
इस चैनल को लाइक कीजिए, सब्सक्राइब कीजिए और सबको इसके बारे में बताइए।
Well, my dear children, I hope this chapter is very clear to all of you. You have understood this chapter, and definitely it is a mystery, and we all must be guessing that from where does that mysterious plane come, and we might be having different opinions regarding this, but that is something, the most interesting part of this chapter. I hope everything is quite clear. Still any confusion? Ask me and I'll help you out. So that was all from this video. Thank you and God bless you.